looking at maize, we are looking at tea, we are looking at coffee, and then we are looking at cocoa in Ghana, coffee in Kenya and Brazil for that matter. We are looking at wheat in Kenya and Canada. And then we will be looking at palm oil in Nigeria. Those are the agriculture that is normally looked at, or the crops that are looked at. When it comes to animals, we look at pastoralism. We look at, after looking at pastoralism, we look at dairy farming, and then we look at beef farming. And then there is plantation agriculture and the traditional agriculture that we also look at. Now, when I come back, let's talk about crop farming. You will be asked, give 3 physical factors that favor tea farming, or favor coffee farming, or favor maize farming, or favor sugarcane farming, or favor wheat farming in Kenya. I tell my boys and all candidates wherever I'm invited. Recently, I was at Kereri Girls and I told them this as much, that that's a question that is normally, that gives free marks to candidates. Why? Because the responses are normally the same. You are asked the physical factors favoring crop production, favoring any crop production. This is how you answer. Answer number 1, deep, well drained. I've talked about deep, well drained. Then you mention the type of a soil. This is how we are going to put it. For coffee, for tea, for wheat. Coffee, tea, wheat, horticulture in Kenya. Coffee, tea, wheat, and horticulture. Which type of soil do they require? Deep, well-drained, volcanic soil. Deep, well-drained, volcanic soil. If such a question had required 3 marks, girls, and you write deep, well-drained volcanic soils, imagine you have 3 marks. Where are the marking points? You will be given a tick on deep, another tick on well-drained, and another tick on volcanic soil. A tick on deep, a tick on well-drained, and a tick on volcanic soils. Remember, thou shall never use the word, thou shall never use the word fertile. In geography paper 2, we don't understand the term fertile. And if you can dare do this, deep, fertile, well-drained volcanic soil, everything is wrong. In books, there is that word fertile, but the word fertile is never used in geography paper 2. Actually, it only makes you not to score. So I've said for coffee, for tea, for wheat, and for horticulture, as far as soil is concerned, talk about deep, well-drained, volcanic soils. Girls, if it's sugarcane, and you want to talk about soil, you know how you frame it? You simply say deep, well-drained, black cotton soil. Then you get your 3 marks. A mark on deep, a mark on well-drained, and a mark on black cotton soils. If it's maize, what do you do? For maize, girls, as far as soil requirement is concerned, you say deep, well-drained, loamy soil. You get a tick on deep, a tick on a tick on well-drained, and a tick on loamy soils. But if you introduce the word fertile, then your marks on soil will have, you will have lost all the marks on soil. Point number 2, temperature. These are regions where candidates don't score. Girls, as far as temperature is concerned, avoid those numbers. Those numbers will confuse you. In Kenya, look over here. A temperature between 0 degrees to 9 degrees Celsius is referred to as low temperature. A temperature between 10 degrees to 19 degrees Celsius is referred to as moderate temperature. A temperature of 20 degrees Celsius and above is known as high temperature. There is no place in Kenya, dear girls, which experiences a temperature between 0 to 9. And because of that, there is no place in Kenya which experiences low temperature. Thou shalt never use the term low temperature. In Kenya, there are places that experience 10 all the way to over 20 degrees Celsius of temperature. Therefore, it means that in Kenya, there are regions that experience moderate temperatures and there are regions that experience high temperatures. What does it therefore mean? That crops that are grown in Kenya requires either moderate temperatures or require high temperatures. When we are marking, we are normally asked, mark everything but a candidate writes. So this is how you lie to examiner to score. You are asked about temperature, dear girls, and you don't know which crop requires which temperature. What you tell examiners, for all those crops, your answer should always be this as far as temperature is concerned. Moderate to high temperature. Temperature, moderate to high temperature. If it's a crop that requires moderate, let examiner mark the word moderate for you. If it's a crop that requires high, let the examiner mark the word high for you. So you should always respond this way, girls. Moderate to high temperature for all the crops. If it's rainfall, again talk about moderate to high rainfall. If it's a crop that requires moderate, you will get a tick on moderate. If it's a crop that requires high, you will get a tick on high. So you talk about moderate to high rainfall, which is well distributed throughout the year. Moderate to high rainfall, which is well distributed throughout the year. When you talk about moderate to high rainfall, tick, which is well distributed throughout the year, another tick. Girls, all crops in Kenya require undulating landscape. If you are dwarf in English, then you simply say gently sloping landscape. We have undulating landscape or gently sloping landscape for easy mechanization. There are other requirements that are specific to other crops, but these requirements that I have given you, these ones are applicable to all other crops. Why do you want to know all other requirements, yet we have so many schools in Kenya? Why don't you leave other responses for boarding boys? Leave other responses for Kenya High. We also have Miranda boys. Leave other responses for them. And for you, take these general responses. After looking at that, dear girls, the last area that I wanted to talk about, if time can allow us, I can see we only have 2 minutes, but if time would have allowed us, I would have handled problems facing crop farming in Kenya, be it maize, be it coffee, be it wheat, be it horticulture, but that one I'm going to look at another day. These 2 minutes that are remaining, let me talk about this equally important aspect. When we are looking at physical requirement of crops, remember there are these 2 crops, a crop called coffee, and there is also a crop called wheat. Coffee is grown in Kenya, and coffee is also grown in Brazil. So when you are asked physical factors favoring coffee growing in Brazil, that's a case study question. And case study questions are normally answered as if you have ever gone to that particular country. As far as soil is concerned for Brazil, you will only talk about deep, well-drained terra rossa soil. Deep, well-drained terra rossa soil. That is coffee in Brazil. It requires a soil known as deep, well-drained terra rossa soils. If it is wheat in Canada requires a soil known as deep, well-drained dark brown or chernozem soils. Deep, well-drained dark brown or chernozem soil. It is only after mentioning deep, well-drained dark brown or deep, well-drained chernozem soils will you score, dear girls. Time is not on our side. I want to end this lesson by saying that we looked at photograph work, all the areas that can be set in photograph work, and I've looked at physical conditions favoring crop farming. If you have any question, then you are free to ask. Remember, for geography, near girls, we are aiming at double digit, and not just double digit, 11.0 plus. We are able, and I know we can manage it, girls. Otherwise, I want to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And girls, can you ensure that you read the books even as you are celebrating Christmas? Can we read our books? Because this KCSE, passing it to a greater extent, determines how we live for the rest of our lives. May God bless you. May God bless Nia girls. Thank you. We can call it a day.